Hello, Heatseekers. It's the Heat Sheet. Hello, Heatseekers, and welcome back to the Heat Sheet. It's been a while. We've explained why it's been a while. These late nights in the summer are making it more and more difficult for us to get time together. But just like Joe Strummer marching up the Royal Mile, we are getting ready for Clash at the Castle with this week's episode of the Heat Sheet. And as the Clash one said, should I stay or should I go? For a good number of us here at the Heat Sheet, it's definitely a go. Unfortunately, Billy, you're having to stay in the glorious northeast as Clash at the Castle comes to Glasgow this year, or this weekend rather. How are you feeling about that?
Good, to be honest, considering that the P&J Live in Aberdeen has a bigger capacity. But I'll be better about it. I'm not better about it at all. I'm just going to...
But is there a castle close to the P&J though?
It's the northeast. There's fuck tons of castles.
So unfortunately, you'll be networking it on Saturday and possibly illegally streaming SmackDown on Friday. Lewis, yourself, I know that we've been speaking about how much you had shelled out on your tickets. Are you happy with the seats that you've got, or do you think you can do better once you get to the Hydro?
Oh, they're fine. The Hydro is a Hydro, you know. It's not like we're at Wembley where you're up in the... If you've got rafter seats, it's proper, like, gasping for air up there. The Hydro is a fairly small, arena, so even with the worst of views up there, it's going to be good. However, I'll hopefully not end there, Even if I have to throw a Jeff Hardy or a Darby Allin and fling myself down, then I'll definitely be giving it a go. But no, I'm sure the person right behind the commentary desk to the top of the Hydro will still have equally as good a night. But yeah, I'll try and see what I've got up my sleeve for the night and get down there legally, of course.
Good stuff. Well, I mean, as we've said over the last few bits and bobs that we've managed to put out, our output over the summer is going to be sporadic, but we couldn't let Clash at the Castle come along and not give you a review of it. So we are going to go through the sort of the standard Heat Sheet format. We're going to look forward to Clash at the Castle and try and predict what's going to make the front page, what's going to be the biggest headlines that come out of the event. We're going to look at the back page and predict what the best match of the night is going to be. And we're also going to look at page 3 and talk about the biggest gossip coming out of it. And then, if we've got time and if Steve's able to join us, which he should be in a wee while, we're also going to look at any other business across the landscape of wrestling that we may have kind of neglected because of the enormity of Clash at the Castle. So we're going to start off with filling the front page. So Lewis, I'll come to you first. What do you think is going to headline the front page? What's going to be the biggest story coming out of this weekend's Clash at the Castle Premium Live event?
It's something I definitely don't want to happen, but it's I don't know, it's kind of a bittersweet thing that you think you're going to get. I don't think Drew's going to win. Purely because, the man that's always nipping his ears, he's always one step behind him, he's shadowing him all the time. It would be great to see CM Punk, but I think as soon as 90% of the crowd sees CM Punk, it'll be that exact groan that you got when Solo Sikoa pulled out the referee in Wales 2 years ago. If you're trying to portray CM Punk as this face against Drew McIntyre, it's never going to work where you are, and I mentioned it in the chat. I think if CM Punk tries to run through the crowd to stop a 3 count or take out Drew McIntyre, he will get stopped by a few drunk Glaswegians. And I'm not talking about Gallus, I'm talking about Mike, Jimmy, anyone that's sitting in the crowd. So I do think CM Punk's going to cost Drew, because I think there's more to go with the Judgment Day story of Priest holding the belt. But yeah, I think the biggest story coming out of it is going to be CM Punk returning and fucking over Drew again. But
So the stipulation that's in play for the match bans the Judgment Day from
Yeah.
being at ringside. Drew beating Finn on Monday Night Raw clarified that, but it did kind of signpost to me anyway that CM Punk isn't part of the Judgment Day, so he could very well be the one to cost Drew for the second time. Billy, do you see things panning out that way for Drew as well, or do you see another turn of events to close out the show?
I genuinely think if Drew loses, that WWE are going to kill the town. That if they do it again, if they come back to Glasgow, the folk are just going to go, nah, they go on, they just screw us over. So I think Drew's going to win. But I think it's going to be not as much end game as Cody and Roman at WrestleMania. But interestingly, when you saw the nameplate come up on Raw for the Judgment Day, it was the Judgment Day and Carlito. So Carlito's not in Judgment Day, but he's clearly wanting to be in about the group. So I put it in the chat that I'm thinking that Carlito's going to try and come out. We might get a Gallus appearance. We'll get a Braun Strowman thing going on as well, because he's currently feuding with JD McDonough and Dirty Dom. And I think Drew's going to win. And that's going to cause the friction for a Judgment Day. But Punk's going to come out almost instantly afterwards. Maybe he's going to come out and have a wee sing-song. But I think he's going to come out, and that's going to be your closing shot of Clash at the Castle, is Drew McIntyre holding the World Heavyweight Championship up with CM Punk staring right at him like a foot apart. I think Punk causing interference. I think that would just absolutely kill the event stone dead, or cause a riot. But I think him standing across from Drew at the end of the show, that's your moment to end Clash at the Castle with, in my opinion.
And that sort of builds your summer of Drew and Punk essentially there. Again, all being well that Punk is cleared for SummerSlam, that's got to be the direction that they go in.
Well, it'll be Drew versus Gunther in that case, because Gunther's got his King of the Ring shot. So I think if Punk's not cleared, it'll be Survivor Series a year after after Punk's returned. Survivor Series, Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk.
There's that. I forgot that Gunter's got that. But again, there's still a bit of confusion around the King of the Ring stuff as well, isn't there? Because Randy Orton's shoulder was up. Mm-hmm. So I could see them maybe running that back at SummerSlam to see who actually gets the title shot, because obviously there was the confusion on it. But there's loads of different complications. There's loads of different ways that can pan out. Lewis, you've said there that you don't think that Drew is going to do it. You think there's going to be there's obviously going to be shenanigans in that scenario. But who would you see as Drew's backup? So, say example, the Judgment Day don't get involved, but as Billy suggested, Carlito does. Who would be your picks from the sort of the Scottish scene, I suppose, because there's going to be plenty of guys there. Drew's already said he wants Ali McCoist there, he wants Rab Florence there, he wants Greg Hempel there. Pat McAfee dropped a Joe Hendry hint or clanger, whatever you want to call it, on commentary the other night there. Do you think Drew has honours if it comes to it?
I think he's going to have to go for the two most popular people in Glasgow, especially if all goes well on Friday night. I would love to see Drew struggling in the match and Scott McTominay and John McGinn come out to even the odds. However, Gallus is an easy option to say, but I don't think there's been any teases of that. Somebody just please say his name and make him appear. I would love to see Joe Hendry there. However, it looks like he's potentially going to be in this Battle Royal on Tuesday on NXT. Obviously, we've got our man Grado that's going to be waiting in the wings. But
I think Grado would be an amazing one, purely because of the history that the two of them have at the Hydro.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good. And then, again, there's the TNA link there as well. So there's surely got to be something in the works. They could have their own sort of like WrestleMania 40 main event style thing, purely aimed at the
One
Scots.
after the other.
So you've got Judgment Day could come out, and it's like they're like to do. You've got no friends. There's plenty of folk you could have called on. You could have called on whoever, William Wallace, blah blah blah, even Joe Hendry, and then just say his name. That'd be a good way of going into that. And then obviously, like a prayer, if that was to hit out I think the Hydro would implode more if that hit than if if Scotland are winning during SmackDown on Friday night.
I know. I think that it's genuinely like a complete, massive, open whiteboard. The drawing board is completely empty for what you could do, but there's so many things that'll happen. Like I'm saying, genuinely, Andy Murray could come out, and the Scottish crowd would go mental. Even stagger into the ring like with that hip, like Roddy Piper in the 2008 Royal Rumble. Like him, or fucking even Judy Murray, fucking anyone that came to that ring who had any sort of Scottish blood in them, would get a massive pop. It's just because Scottish fans are I think it's like the most easily pleased crowd, purely because they've got so many beers in them, that it's just like simple things done well will make the crowd happy. I know it's not going to be a full Scottish crowd, but just anyone that came out done sort of well, and that sort of fits in some way with the story, you'd be on a winner there. There's not much you can do wrong there other than having CM Punk come out and cost Drew. There's your one thing that they'll be so close to wanting to do, but just do anything else.
The problem with your dearness of him losing is they've changed the press conference, the media thing afterwards. There's some rumblings that it's just going to be like a post show and not a press conference, which makes me think that if they're not doing a press conference, that Drew's losing because they're not wanting to handle the absolute shit show that would be a post show press conference with some Scots media that are slightly bevied and all that kind of stuff, that are just going to pick a fight with Paul Levesque, which would be hilarious. I would like to watch that. I would like to see it in the crowd as well, but I'm not going. But yes, that's leading me to have doubts. But the heart wants what it wants, and it wants Drew and CM Punk standing toe to toe at the end.
I think that's the perfect scenario. I think, especially because they've built up this Drew and Punk feud, and you could argue that it doesn't. Their feud doesn't need to be for the title because it is so personal. But yeah, I think you're right in what you said. If we don't get fan service at the end of Clash, I think it will be to the detriment of future Scottish shows. So that's obviously the biggest.
I've looked at. I've done the stupid thing of looking at Sky Bet to see the odds, the bookies odds of this, and they can't split either. And you'd be thinking in a crowd in Scotland, Drew McIntyre, that it would be undisputed that Drew's winning. So there is clearly up in the air. The bookies are as up in the air as we are with who's going to win. So yeah, that doesn't fill me with much hope, but you never know.
Well, it's certainly something that we're looking forward to, and whether it's on the network or in person, it's going to be absolutely electric come main event time on Saturday at Clash at the Castle. Billy, do you have any other suggestions for what could be the biggest headline coming out of Clash at the Castle for this next week's front page, if that makes sense?
I'm gonna hold off on the IC title match. I think we'll speak about that later. I want to throw in Bayley and Piper Niven.
Yes,
because I want to see Piper win. Not to the detriment of Bayley, and not because of Scotland, but I think the prospect of having Nia Jax and Piper Niven at SummerSlam is way more tantalizing to me than Bayley and Nia Jax. And plus, Piper's history in the Hydro, she's 0-3. She's never won a match in the Hydro for a title anyway. She's in those 3 matches. They were all world heavyweight. Well, they're all title matches. Against Kaylee Ray, against Nikki Cross, against Carmel Jacob. They're all involved in ICW and Hydro. And the fact that this week coming as well, when this show takes place, is 5 years since the passing of Lionheart. That's going to be that's the emotional match. Like, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat for Drew and Damian Priest, but this is the one I'll be like, come on, Piper, you need to. This is it. This is the one. She might shed a wee tear if she wins at the end of it as well. Will the match be the match of the night? Maybe not, but I think from an emotional standpoint, this is the one that this is the one I'm going to be a little bit like get all tingly around about the jewels and that when I'm watching it, thinking that we've seen Piper go through so much over the last, well, however long she's been wrestling for, 15 whatever years. To see her in that position is just going to be really nice and really pleasant for me as a fan to see her in there with the WWE Women's Championship on the line. So yeah, you're right, Drew Damian. That's probably the big headline, but I want to throw that match in there as a discussion point.
No, 100% there, Billy. I think that Piper Viper's story lends itself well to being the Hydro. Again, like so many of the Scottish ones on the roster, the Hydro as a venue is somewhere that's very special for a lot of them. And for if we go with Lewis's booking and we don't get Drew winning the title, you've got to think there's an element of putting the belt on Piper Niven in Scotland to placate it almost. And I don't mean that, just as a placation, as, a hometown girl gets the win kind of thing. But I think she's put in the graft over the years, and the run that she's on just now, her affiliation with Chelsea Green has been amazing. She's been getting decent mic time on Raw. She's obviously shown herself to be able to handle herself on the socials with the interactions she's been having with Bully Ray over the last wee while as well. So she's definitely brought more of her character to the table. And when you said there about her, possibly facing off against Nia Jax, as she won the Queen of the Ring, but big meaty women slapping meat. I'm all for that in the WWE as well. So yeah, Piper Niven would get my backing. Any Scots people are going to get my backing this weekend, but Piper, I think, against Bayley is a great shout. Steve, in terms of that, do you think that obviously it's been a while since Bayley had the World Championship? She did a lot during the pandemic era, where she was performing as champion to no crowds, and then she get kind of screwed out of the WrestleMania moment there. Do you think it would be too soon in this current run for her to be losing the title?
Are we glossing over the bondage that Steve's gone and said?
I'm not seeing Steve. We've got Rey Mysterio on the episode.
Steve Mysterio, as I'm called this evening.
Steve Mascaris.
Well, evening, gentlemen. Apologies for my tardiness. I was having network problems. To answer your question, I'd be very surprised that they would hand the title over to Piper Niven. I mean, we would love it as natives to see a Scottish lass make the dream come true on the hometown, but it kind of does feel to me they're giving her just a title match just to give her a moment in our hometown, because I think as well Bayley's title run hasn't been that much of a success, but I still believe that there is long-term plans for her to hold that further down the line. It feels like maybe they're going to do something probably with maybe for Asuka when she comes back, probably something along those lines. I would be doubtful that she's going to drop it to Piper Niven. basically also because I'm a believer that Drew's going to go over. I think they're going to put two hometown heroes over on the same night. WWE are never that kind. So it would be one or the other. I think the likelihood is Drew winning and Piper unfortunately losing.
And what about yourself, there, Lewis? What do you reckon? What would be your preferred outcome from Piper Niven against Bayley?
I don't know how much it's been built up, the sort of Piper feud. I know I've maybe missed SmackDown and Raw in the last couple of weeks or so. However, there's a lot more stock in Drew McIntyre over Piper Niven. However, like you're saying, oh my god, there's a lot of things that line up, like you're saying, the 5-year anniversary of Lionheart, you know, how close Viper and Lionheart were, all this stuff, but I don't know, I just don't think it's credible enough for her to beat Bayley yet, even though Bayley's not directly linked to another feud yet. You know, obviously we can see that Drew McIntyre's linked to another feud. You've got Damien Priest linked to another feud, so you can see the outcome of that coming that way. But like you're saying, if Drew's not to win, I think they've got to do something for the Scottish folks, so I'd be more than happy to see Piper Niven with the belt.
Smashing. Now, Billy, I'll end this one with yourself there. You mentioned about the 5-year anniversary of Lionheart passing. We touched on other Scottish wrestlers that we think might get involved in the Drew match. What other Scottish Easter eggs would you like to see take place during Clash at the Castle? I don't mean like the stereotypical, you know, like. Well, in fact, I'd seen something you'd actually tweeted the other day about Austin Theory doing an Iron Brew shoey.
Oh yeah, sorry. This was funny in my head, but it's really, really warm now. So we take it off. Give me a second. How wrestlers wear that, I do not know. Yeah, Grayson Waller doing a shoey. That'd be quite cool.
Yeah, Grayson
Waller. I mean, we're going to get some very stereotypical, borderline, not racist, but xenophobic things with haggis and stuff, aren't we? with like the New Day doing things like that. I don't know. There's going to be. I'm hoping we do get the things like St. Ali McCoist and all that kind of stuff, just as a voiceover. Why not? You know how they have the voiceover at the start of like WrestleMania and stuff like that as the big booming voice introducing the show. Why not get Ali to do it? You know, just get that kind of voice. I'll probably get Andy Murray to do it. He's got more of a stoic kind of voice for it.
No, it'll be who's the biggest Scotsman in Hollywood now? Is there any
Gerard Butler?
Gerard Butler.
I was about to say Elaine C. Smith for some reason, but that was the name popped in my head. But Gerard Butler doing it. Why not?
John Barrowman. Get John Barrowman involved with his mad transatlantic accent.
I was going to say he's going to do his fake American accent with it. But you know, there's going to be kilts. There's going to be tartan everywhere. They're going to just roll out the stovies. I'm sure the catering's going to be lovely. But as far as that, I'd like to see things like Jester making an appearance. Jack Jester, pictures of him and Drew popped up today because Drew's did a bit for STV in the Asylum in Glasgow. Even if it's just like extras that are from the Scottish scene, like again those pictures, Arcade Violence were in those pictures, and Landon Riley, some of the ICW Asylum folk. So to see those kind of things would pop me, just because I'm so immersed in this scene. But as far as the Scots sports things, I'm not the one to ask. It'll be you guys that know a bit more about that.
Liz McColgan, in fact, the lassie from up north that was really good at the curling. We'll get her out. Who else? I can't mean. There's loads of folk that could be rolled out, but
Douglas Ross, he could turn up.
Get booed out of the building. That'd be amazing.
Claim it on his expenses.
Bring Douglas Ross could come out and join the Judgment Day. That'd be amazing.
Should have
a one there.
Have a match, have a fucked ending, and then just bring Willie Collum out with a VAR screen, and just call the match to be restarted. Send the referee over to the screen.
Or Have Logan Paul come out with a twin Rangers and Celtic kit.
Oh,
the wee half and half.
Aye.
Did you? I shared it in the chat. Have you seen what he's done today?
Was it the Trump thing?
Aye, he's on. Trump's on his podcast.
Oh, you'd think WWE would want him to distance for that. I mean, they've got enough going on with sex pests in the background at the minute. you'd think they'd. And I can say that because he has been accused of being an actual deviant in a court of law, so there's no libel there. There's no libel there. Well, Billy, as much as I think Piper getting the win and becoming a Scottish women's champion, I was about to say first ever, but she's not because that was Nikki Cross. I think Drew coming out of Clash as champion has got to be next week's headline, and that headline is going to be Drew has the McIntyre crowd behind him as he becomes champion for a fourth time. So that's the headline we're going to go with there. Now
I thought we were going to return of the Mac.
Oh, that would have been a good one as well. It was more the entire thing that was trying to cram in there. Again, it would look better written down as these things always do. So we're going to jump to the back page now. What we're going to predict is going to be making next week's back page with the best in-ring action. Steve, since you've not had a lot of mic time so far this evening, we'll come to you first. What do you predict is going to be the best match from Saturday night's Clash at the Castle card?
I think a shoe-in's going to be AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes in that I Quit match. I think they've already had a 5-star match coming out of Backlash. They've also taken the feud to the next level with AJ doing the old fake retirement skit, and they just mesh really well together. And I think, given the amount of airtime that WWE's now willing to give its big pay-per-view matches, I think we're going to be in for a solid 20-minute barn burner. I think there'll be a lot of great selling involved and a lot of great storytelling, a lot of big spots that they've got planned for it. So I fully expect that to be the main match coming out of it.
The match at Backlash was, I don't want to say unexpectedly brilliant because it's Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. You know, you're not going to get a poor match from them. But I think coupled with the crowd reaction to that one, it's one of the most well-received matches across any promotion this year.
Well,
do you think that trying to run it back is going to, in front of a Scottish crowd, is going to take it up a level? Do you think we're going to get a better match than that?
I believe so. Well, the French crowd elevated it, and a mad Scottish crowd. Fingers crossed, come 24 hours off a famous football victory against Germany. Pissed as farts, loving life is going to elevate it even further.
So it's definitely one. I think the I Quit stipulation that coming into play, I think that would maybe make it a bit more of a party match, maybe than the last one. Because obviously there's no rules in it apart from trying to get your opponent to quit. Lewis, what's your take on it? Do you reckon that we're going to get a better match than the Backlash match between the two?
Yeah, it's going to be a different match. It's not going to be quite as technical or sort of ring oriented like obviously Backlash was. So it's good to see they've gone down a different route to make sure it's not sort of Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes level of stagnant, even though they threw a wee no DQ into that and a bit of blood and this and that. I Quit matches are very different, you know. They always like to come up with something somewhat unique, you know. That's at least it's not someone that's gone in there with, because if Cody Rhodes wins, he's not really got a clear submission. You know, he's got the figure four or this sort of thing, but it doesn't look like it's going to be done with submission. It's going to have to be something wild, like. Especially with the crowd you've got a fairly, like, no seeming like the guy, oh, I'm for Dundee. When people see me, they think, oh, hard man. You know, all that part. But, like, Scottish people are fairly violent and at the best of times. So you're thinking they're going to want to do something that matches the crowd's energy. You know,
he's going to think to chip him.
Like I've seen pure Tank Abbott against some boy in WCW. Came across it the other day where he just after the match he just got a knife up on him, saying he was going to fucking kill him. Maybe not that wild, but if something that reminisces Cena versus JBL, whatever that was the Great American Bash, or was it maybe Judgment Day 2005, something like that, where just blood streaming down the face of them, you know, just you have to give up or you're fucked. You know what I mean? It's not like a submission where you've been in it for a wee bit and fuck it, I quit, I tap. It's gonna have to be something if you don't quit right now, there's a 50% chance you're dead. You know, they've got to build the suspense and get a good payoff for it and not a three crossroads and he goes for the fourth crossroads and AJ quits, you know, something like that. But, you know, they're full of surprises nowadays. You can never know what's going to happen with Triple H. You could always follow a pattern with Vince, but, you know, Triple H has always got a few sort of jacks up his sleeve, and you never know. I do see it being as good a match, but with a stipulation. Meltzer doesn't tend to like to give 5-star matches. He likes the classic technical and ring work. So it's not going to be a 5-star match, but it's going to be probably a more memorable match than the Backlash one. So I'm all for it.
I predict Cody will win it after he makes AJ watch Susan Calman's RBS adverts on a continuous loop. That'll make anybody quit.
That'd be a good Scottish Easter egg to drop in there. That'd be a good one. Although I don't know if they'd have the broadcasting rights to it, because I know that Channel 5 can be pretty stingy when it comes to relicensing their stuff. Billy, I would say that a big reason for this match getting run back is because of the crowd reaction in Leon, France. At the Backlash, and the French fans popping really hard for Il est vraiment phenomenal, the chant that they were doing for the phenomenal AJ Styles. What do you reckon the Scottish fans will go into business for themselves and try and put themselves over as much as what the French ones did throughout this PLE, or do you think will be much more understated?
What would be the Scottish equivalent to shouting out Frenchisms when AJ Styles does something particularly dickish? Are they going to shout AJ Styles sells Avon? That's it. That's the one. I think Scottish crowds generally they're here for a good time, not to be dicks about it. You know, like if you see any concert online or you go to a show, generally. Scottish crowds are here to have a party with the act, not against the act or not for themselves. They're usually with whoever is, because to be honest, we get a bit more up here now, but we don't get a lot in Scotland, so we have to take advantage of it when we can. And if we're going to be dicks about it, they're not going to come back, you know, because what's the point? They can just do it in London or Manchester, do a UK tour and not actually leave England. So I think Scottish crowds are going to go with this. I hope. I
think there's a fine line with that. You know, it's going to be you don't want to be quiet, but you don't want to be too loud. You know, or you want to find that Leon balance where everyone comes out of it going fucking wow, rather than fucking wow.
See, I'd be quite happy if the Scottish ones adopted that French chant. You know, I think that'd be class. It's an actual song called Phenomenal by a band called Phenomenal Club. I'm going to play a wee bit of it here if I can, if it'll come through. It's very Euro France '98 vibes to it. It's you could picture it on the terraces of the Parc des Princes and the.
It's very much the kind of music you get when you're on holiday by the pool and all that.
He lived them all. He lived them all. Phenomena.
Do you think they'll be fussed for doing a copyright strike?
I don't know. I don't know. It seems to
Sounds
be
like the
off
music
some
in
kind
my
of
head
weird thing.
when the room's spinning at 4 a.m. after I've had far too many beers.
We all know what the inevitable chant of the night's going to be, don't we?
Here we fucking go.
Well, that and you're just a shy Undertaker. I mean, that's all Damien Priest is going to hear all night.
Instead of here we fucking go, I'd quite like gonna no day that. I think that'd be a good alternative as well there.
It's going to be brilliant. Like Michael Cole's going to be like sitting there going, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're awfully sorry for the foul language you're hearing." It's like the Americans are in for a shock.
I think they are. Although in saying that, they've been teaming up. Pat McAfee introducing Drew as a big handsome bastard on Raw this week.
Americans like using the word bastard. I don't understand. Like they're so reserved on any other swear word, but they love bastard. So throw that in. Aplomb.
Bastard was one of those words where I had on my sort of banned list that I could say in the house that you could probably say when I was 9, but I didn't really want to say it. It was one of those, but they're just throwing it out in every episode of Raw now, you fucking bastard.
Aye, plenty of swearing, plenty of effing and jeffing throughout the crowd. It's going to be a raucous atmosphere.
Just while we're talking about this match, I want to mention Cody's jacket, his ring jacket that he's revealed on and the shirt, the merch shirt, which looks sweet. I'm going to wait until that's on clearance on WWE Shop, but it looks sweet with the skull with the saltire on it. It looks amazing.
Is Sammy not planning something as well? Is he not coming out with a tartan jacket or something?
Well, I used to wear a tartan jacket.
I used to wear the bomber jacket kind of thing. Unless he just comes with it turned inside out. They always save himself some money.
Because you look Scottish in a way, Sammy.
Well, why not?
Like a ginger alky.
He's like
And Otis looks like someone you'd probably meet up and.
Otis is outside Blue Lagoon already. Like that's where you're seeing him. But yes, Cody v AJ Styles 2 does have the promise to be the match of the night. But Steve, sorry. No, who had that one?
Not
I'm
me.
forgetting.
I came out with that.
It was Steve. Billy, what do you think has got a better chance of being a better match for the back page?
Well, we've just mentioned them. Sami Zayn, Chad Gable. We'll throw that one in there. And then I think we've got one match left to talk about. I'm going to go with Sami Zayn, Chad Gable. We've seen what they can do. We've adopted Sami, clearly, because he's ginger. So we're going to have him in the Scottish camp for a bit. But the intrigue of Chad Gable, has he signed, has he not? If he wins, then clearly he probably has. What's Otis going to do? Is Otis going to do something as well? As far as like a technical match, we know that they can have an amazing technical match, but they've built up in the last few weeks so many story points that could be brought back into this. Is Maxine going to do something? Is Tozawa going to do anything? Is Tozawa going to be there? He might not be. Is Maxine going to wear tartan? A lot of my focus is on Maxine, clearly.
Yeah.
But the match itself, we know how good they can do it, and now they've got the more emotive storyline in with it as well. It's just going to be. I think this is going to be phenomenal. Not to steal from.
Can I throw in a?
He live them on. He live them on. Sorry.
Can I throw in a pitch of what I think could happen here?
Mm-hmm.
I think this could bring in Gallus's main roster debut. I think Chad could align himself with those three. He could see those. Oh shit! I forgot about them.
Aye, I was thinking that the Creeds seem to be the new Team Angle sort of thing. I would say.
I thought like in a weird way I could see Chad fitting well with at least the Coffees. Maybe not much Wolfgang. Wolfgang can maybe stay in NXT, maybe do a solo run. But I could see Chad doing something with the Coffees. I think that could be a fit. Yeah.
I'd take Otis versus Wolfgang any day.
Oh, that would be a belter actually.
Do you think the after party will be in La Cala up in Denniston, Wolfie's pub?
Possible. I mean,
I think he still owns it. I'm pretty sure.
Judging the inevitably will be on the catty.
Damien Priest will be anyway.
Aye. They're just a shite Undertaker.
The catty will be swarming after it, no doubt.
I mind the live event last year though. I seen was it this year? No, I think it was last year. I seen LA Knight and Damien Priest and Karrion Kross in the garage.
That's the do you know send photos into the group chat about it?
What was that?
I thought you sent photos into the group chat.
Aye. Yeah. But I got was too plastered anyway. I actually forgot I was wearing an LA Knight t-shirt at the exact time, and I looked and went, I can't be real. But yeah, there or for special patrons only, we've got Drew McIntyre's actual hotel room number. So we're going to drop that on the Patreon tonight. Only £200 because I know there'll be a lot of airport hangers. Looking to get that. Already seen in a few chats, there's people going, "Oh, anyone know what time WWE gets into press week today?"
Press week.
I was like, "There'll be a press week now."
It's mad. I liked. I know we're getting away for Sammy and Chad here, but I liked Drew's response the other day to the boy on Twitter with the McIntyre Funko Pops. I asked him what he thought of that, and Drew likes. I like it even less when it's stuck under my nose at an airport at 5 a.m.
I laughed at that because that's a very CM Punk like response.
Aye, there was a lot of punk in it. But back to Sammy versus Chad, Billy. We know that technically it's probably going to be the most technically sound match on there. Is it going to hit the emotional beats that we expect it to? And do you see Chad taking the gold? Just like with Bailey and Piper, do you think Sammy needs it a bit longer with the IC title, or there's now the time to pull the trigger on Mr. Gable?
Nah, pull it. Just pull it. Why not? I mean, I'm not suggesting that all titles should change hands in this particular show, but I think you need to strike with Chad Gable now. Whether it's bringing people in, like maybe wait until Monday to bring in the Creeds or what have you, because then they can do Chad Gable's championship celebration, get the podium out, and he can like fire Alpha Academy, and the Creeds can just beat them down afterwards. I think he needs straight. I don't think Sammy needs the belt to be popular, but I think the belt needs Chad Gable to make it just another like prestigious belt. I don't think Sammy's doing anything particularly for the belt, but he's popular enough he doesn't need it. You know what I mean? So yeah, strike while the iron is hot. Get Chad Gable with that belt.
And
I think that's like a perfect angle to be something like, you know, Otis is taken out, you know, even at the top of the ramp or this or that, and Chad's looking distraught about it, you know, he's looking absolutely gutted about it, and or even maybe Sammy the same way, he's like, oh no, I can't believe this has happened, just with two hooded people or something, and that gives the opportunity for Chad Gable to get the win and then just point to the head and just not care about him, and the hoods come down and there's the Creed brothers ready for your celebration on Monday, the three of them. But
I think,
yeah,
add to the fact it's never over for Chad. He's not going to get hotter than this now. We've been waiting for him for ages to get his big moment, and this is surely it.
And to kind of round this bit out here, what was I going to ask there? If Chad is to take the belt, is Sammy losing upwards and winning Money in the Bank next month?
Could be.
Yeah.
I
I think it's. The thing is, I'm not a fan of baby faces holding the briefcase. I've always struck me as a heel move to cash in it unless you're challenging. You're giving the champion notice first of your cash in.
I think Sammy's the kind of guy who would, though. I think that he's the kind of guy that would go, "This is the time and date. Prepare for it."
He'll do the honourable thing. Do what RVD did back in the day.
Yeah, I would say so. But who knows? It's Money in the Bank. It's had a little bit of a couple lean years of crap, really. So it might need to build it back up with some actual surprise. And yeah, but you never know. Yeah, Sammy will be Money in the Bank surely, regardless. with old Jey Uso and whoever else they can find to throw in there.
Yep. Well, Money in the Bank is only a few weeks away, so we might get a chance to reconvene and do a preview of that. But to wrap up this section of the podcast, in terms of getting the back page, I'm going to err on Sammy's side here. I think that's going to be the more pull in match, the one more pull, purely because we've just recently seen AJ against Cody, and the headline I'm going to go with is, does Sammy's Intercontinental reign come to a Gable end? Just because we're in Scotland and Gable end is a thing. It's a thing. Boo you, Lewis, for your big mad thumbs down bubble coming up there. So yeah, that was two cracking options there, but the Intercontinental title is the one that is going to take next week's back page. Which now takes us on to page 3, the biggest gossip that we think is going to come out of the Clash at the Castle PLE and subsequent weekend. And I'll come to you. In fact, Lewis, I'll come to you on this. Lewis, what do you think the biggest gossip is going to be coming out of it to grace the page 3 of the heat sheet?
I'd be hoping that there's like the biggest gossip you could have is announcing another show. Announce while you're there. Announce that we've got something more. Announce the UK. Announce that Scotland's got this. So either that or just pure gossip about how good or bad the crowd is. I think that's going to be your gossip. I think it's going to be everyone's going to be talking about the crowd being the best or the most unique, or the disappointment that it's caused. However, you never know with these crowds. I know we've talked a lot about the crowd, what you think it's going to be, but then back to the first part of it could just be crowd let down by CM Punk return. It's going to be, why is he returned? Why has he come back at this time? Why have they not done it again? What's Drew McIntyre going to be thinking about this? Because that's his three shining moments overshadowed. And there will be a point of him where he values himself more than he's been given. I know he's the top guy, but he wants that title reign. So could it be the case of he looks for pastures new at some point? But coming out from this weekend as well, there's going to be something with Ricochet. There's going to be your gossip. Where's he going next? What's he doing? Because we're not even touched on him yet. I'm sure we'll touch on him later.
I'll get to the AOB, I'm sure.
Either the crowd being red hot or red in the face, or maybe a potential overlooking of Drew McIntyre being the top guy again would be my two stories for gossip.
Cool. Steve, what about yourself? What do you think is going to be the thing that's going to be in everybody's lips coming out of
similar to Lewis? Is this going to escalate the chances of UK finally getting WrestleMania? Because it seems it's getting more and more likeable. We're going to get one by, I want to target 2027, because it's not going to be in Scotland. I would love it to be. I think what we could get is another Clash either next year or 2026, possibly at Murrayfield. I think the only reason we're not going to Murrayfield this weekend is because of Miss Swift, because she dominated it, and there have been too much logistics and to set out to get it set up there. I think this is why they ended up choosing the Hydro. But I think if we can prove this to be such a success, Triple H says, fuck it, let's get this back, get back here next year, either at one of their stadiums, either in Edinburgh or Glasgow. Let's go big next time, and while we're at it, let's have a word with Sadiq Khan and let's finally get WrestleMania done at Wembley by 26 or 27. I think we need to do a part here to try and get it. We are, as much as we're representing Scotland, we're also representing the UK as a whole. We need to do our part, and try and persuade WWE to finally bring us WrestleMania, because we deserve it.
What's your takes on both of those suggestions, Billy?
I want to throw my own for a second, and then I'll have that. Drew has championship celebration party at ICW after hours, after Clash, and then he continues Iron Girders as well at Blue Veil on Sunday as well, because that's Wolfie's promotion is Iron Girders. So it'd be cool just to have a championship celebration in Scotland, encompassing ICW and Girders. Probably not ICW because they'll be on Fight. There'll be some licensing stuff that you can't show on Fight or Triller, whatever it's called. As far as the two options there, I would love it if they say, right, maybe not WrestleMania, but we're going to come back to Scotland, do Clash again. Every 2 years, we're going to come to the UK, do Clash at the Castle. We're looking to do it at Murrayfield. We're looking to do it at Hampden. We're looking to do it back in Scotland. I have a chance to get to it. But likelihood is it's going to be England next, isn't it? They've done Wales. They've done
Ireland.
Or Ireland.
I think if Becky comes back,
I was going to say, I think that would be Becky's return show, maybe.
Yeah.
Clash at the Castle in Ireland.
Or if Lyra Valkyria becomes so red hot that she can become a big draw in her domestic market.
Yeah. I think that's good.
So that's. I think that would be pretty cool as a gossip. Yeah, why not Ireland? Fuck England. Yeah, Clash at the Castle 2026, Ireland. Let's do it.
I'd be on board with that. And you can come and crash at mine if you fancy it as well. I'm surprised, Lewis. I thought your gossip would have been what's due to happen on Raw with the Uncle Howdy.
I know. I'm a big advocate for the big man, tatted on myself and everything, but I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't know where they're gonna go with it. You know, Bray Wyatt has been fucking fumbled for the past 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, however long it's been. So it's just where was Bray Wyatt's story going, and where are they going to go with this? Because you know, like when someone gets super over and super hot, it's their instinct and it's the natural progression to have them in a world title feud, you know, or a title feud. But the way that this is situated with Loomis and Gacy and Bo and Rowan, Nikki, Braun, whoever, Alexa. It's like, where do they go? You know, it's how do they present themselves? Is it going to be Alexa's a spooky bitch? You know, it's like Eric Rowan's crazy and mad, and so is Joe Gacy. And how? Because the minute the Fiend won the Universal title, he was instantly killed. You know, like his matches and his everything started going downhill and all this sort of shit. But it's like, where do you go? Are they just going to come as special attractions here and there? Are they going to be like an Undertaker WrestleMania thing? Are they just going to cause so much carnage over Raw and SmackDown and NXT and everything that that is what it's going to be about? It's going to be about WWE versus Uncle Howdy's faction. You know, how far are they going to go with this? So I'm not mentioning it because I don't want to get my hopes up. You know, it's one of those things. I'm trying to set my bar so low that I can only be pleasantly surprised. You know, it's one of those things. But, yeah, fuck knows. They could come out on Monday and just kill the gimmick instantly, you know. Like, They could just go completely wrong. And it's in Corpus Christi. It's not a massive crowd to debut a new person. But maybe they're going off the show after a pay-per-view, sort of hope that the crowd's hot, you know. Or maybe it's just going to be a simple thing of they introduce themselves over just a video or the Tron or this or that. You never know, but I guess we've just got to find out on Monday and wait, and then we'll see on the next show, or we'll maybe put a piece out on it and review it, and then have more to talk about then, as opposed to sort of counter chickens before they're hatched. You know, you never know what's going to happen, especially with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy.
Yep, it's certainly very interesting. I mean, the breadcrumbs and the QR codes and all that sort of stuff, it's been going on for quite a wee while. I don't think it's been as enticing as the White Rabbit stuff, but in terms of the trail that's been left, and from what we know about what the faction's going to be, it's going to make Monday night peak viewing. I think it's going to do a ratings bump. And even if there is some sort of tease, at the end of Clash, if there's a Survivor Series-esque type thing where the show's ending, and then like Uncle Howdy appears in the rafters of the Hydro or something like that. Just if we're not getting Billy's Drew and Punk face off to close the show out, I think that would be the perfect lead in for Monday night. And then you can leave the cynics amongst us wondering why is Uncle Howdy hanging out in Glasgow and then going to be in Texas 2 nights later. But that's for Monday night. I think to round out this page 3 segment here, I think I'm going to go with Steve. I'm going to go with Steve on this and his this weekend being a potential pitch for a Scottish WrestleMania. And the headline I'm going to go for is, if you build it, they will come to a muddy field of dreams. That's because that quote's for that film with Kevin Costner in it. So we're going to wrap up our part of this show this evening with just a bit of any other business. Really, we've focused on Clash at the Castle quite heavily on this week's show, but there has been a lot of other wrestling going on since we last spoke. So we'll do a quick fire wee round here. I will just ask you for one line of opinion on a couple of the breaking stories from the last few weeks. And we kind of touched on it earlier on. We mentioned that Ricochet has officially not re-signed with WWE. Steve, where do you see him ending up?
I think AEW is the likely destination, but don't be too surprised if we see him pop up in New Japan. He had a brief jaunt there, kind of mid-2010s. I think he won the Best of the Super Juniors one year. It was kind of him and Ospreay kind of put each other in the map in a way in their series of matches that they had there. And also it feels like New Japan kind of need to have another big Western star to use to keep the market strong there on, excuse the pun, on the strong programme that they aim at Western audiences. So, and also he might fancy having a bit of a lighter schedule as well, because he's had 7 years he was with the Fed.
He doesn't fancy the grind.
Maybe he's kind of having a bit of, maybe he's having a bit of the old burnout issues and he wants to work a lighter schedule. But Billy, I think AEW's your likely situation there. Ospreay kind of had sort of mentioned something about him that he feels that he's not utilising properly in WWE. Maybe Ricochet heard that and think, yeah, maybe it's time to jump ship.
Billy, do you think your pal Trevor has been tapped up by Tony Khan?
Big Trev. I think he'll be courted, but I think he'll go TNA first. TNA. Get him and Ali and go for the X Division title.
Lewis, I'll come at you off the back of that. If Ricochet is to go to TNA, do you think he will be present in this Battle Royal that's coming up on NXT? That's allegedly going to have TNA folk in it as well.
Could be.
Or is it too soon?
Nah, it's one of those things. It was like an EastEnders Christmas episode of Monday Night Raw. You knew someone was going to die, but you didn't know how it was going to happen. We were all just waiting on Ricochet being absolutely murdered by Braun Breaker. How was he going to do it? Just a quick line on it as well. It would have been perfect if in the ambulance they weren't calling him Ricochet. He's actually lying there, and the last things that he hears is that Ricochet. They call him Trevor, mate. Then he goes, Ricochet, are you okay, Ricochet?
By the way,
I don't know. How weird is it? Probably.
How weird is it hear of an American called Trevor? Like it's just not a name you associate with Americans, is it?
No, not at all. It's like hearing
or Keith.
Right. So you don't think Trevor Shea is going to turn up in NXT? Someone who has turned up in NXT, all ego Ethan Page. Steve, is this a good move for Ethan Page?
Yes, 100%. AEW dropped the ball with him. Don't get why they didn't do more for him, because he ticks all the boxes: look, charisma, works really well in the ring. I think what let him down is maybe he's a bit of a slower worker, and he wasn't a flip guy. You need to be a guy that's willing to do high spots in AEW to be in the top of the bill. So he's a guy more grounded, more safer style. So I think he was already suited more to WWE programming anyway. So 100%, I think that is a good move for him, and I think he'll be the NXT champion, and then by next year he'll be doing a lot of good stuff in WWE programming as well.
Lewis, was it too soon for him to get an NXT title shot this past weekend?
Yeah, because he came out and it was pure crickets. For such a star that he is, he'd been in TNA, been in AEW, all that sort of thing. I think he needed a build-up. I think he needed a build-up to be a credible opponent and to not take that loss from Trick. Because, Sean Spears came in losing. You don't want the same to happen with someone who's even a bigger star, like Ethan Page. So I think, yeah, but he's always a reliable hand. Everywhere he's went, he's always a reliable hand. So if you needed someone to pop in there to face Trick and manage to get himself back over easily enough, then could easily say, yeah, it was fine for him. But I think it's a 50-50 decision there.
Smashing. And Billy, last word on this bit here. On Ethan Page, he was in a segment on NXT this week alongside Sean Spears and Lexis King and Cody Rhodes, who told the three of them that they were in a good place now. Do you see that as being a shot fired at the old place for those three?
Yeah, but at least WWE do it subtly. I don't get the hype on Ethan Page. He's white meat. He's a carrying cross. To me, I don't get it. I don't understand what I'm supposed to be excited about by Ethan Page. So I'm not on board with you guys. I don't get it. He seems boring.
He's got the tightest tits in NXT now. Get the tightest tits in NXT. Last thing that we're going to talk about on this Any Other Business, the return of Maxwell Jacob Friedman to AEW television. Billy, I know you're not a massive AEW watcher, but do you think the product is going to have an upturn in success, crowd-wise, TV-wise, whatever metric you want to measure? And do you think MJF coming back is a good thing at this moment in time for All Elite Wrestling?
You're aware I don't watch AEW and don't care, so I'm just going to overtake this for a second because it has been mentioned. WWE Women's Tag Team titles are on the line. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill defend against Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, Scotland, Shayna Baszler and Joey Stark. They're there to take the pin. I don't care about the MJF stuff. He looks very tanned. He looks he's so brown. He's going for the Triple H 2002 return look. Will it make a difference? No. AEW are catering towards the lowest common denominator, the nerds that buy all the merch, and they're not catering to a wider audience, and that's what's always going to be there.
They're the wrestling company.
They're a t-shirt company, and they're always until they actually try to market themselves to a wider audience. That's what they'll always be at 800k and never growing. So MJF's not going to make a difference, I'm afraid.
Steve, I saw you shaking your head quite vehemently there. What's your rebuttal to Billy's opinion of MJF?
I don't give a fuck if it doesn't bump any ratings. MJF's the boy, and you know he is. He's the ace. I mean, I know Moxley and Omega are often called the aces of AEW. Bollocks. It's MJF. He is the biggest all-round star in wrestling, and I mean the reason why I want Ricochet to show up in AEW is because MJF is going to fucking annihilate him on the mic like he does everybody. And if MJF was in WWE, if he had the WWE backing, he would be The Rock, only likeable.
And we'll round out this section. I've said that quite a bit in the season. We'll round out this section with you, Lewis. MJF came back and he had his AEW tattoo on his calf. Is that a better or worse tattoo than your Arsenal one?
The tattoo is shocking. I'll admit that.
I'll leave that one for the crowd there. leave that one for any viewers on YouTube. I would probably say yeah. However, I managed to get a worse one in Glasgow the other day on my ankle. Two stick men. One of the stick men has one of the guy's backs. I was lying on the form when I said I wasn't heavily intoxicated, but it came back to bite me in the arse anyway because there was blood pissing everywhere in Revolution when I was trying to do my shots. So, answer to that, probably yes.
I think it's about equal, to be honest. But that has been this week's episode of the Heat Sheet. Well, certainly it has been from us. We've hit the headlines there, looking at next week's headlines this week for Clash at the Castle. But it would be remiss of us not to give the final word to the man who has made Clash at the Castle possible. So for the next however many minutes that the Zoom call tomorrow morning allows me, we're going to finish off this week's podcast with an interview with the man that we hope is going to be leaving Clash at the Castle as the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Drew McIntyre. See you later, Heatseekers. Scotland. So, Drew, last time we spoke, you were hoping to make time in your schedule to get over to Glasgow for this, to Edinburgh rather, for the Rangers v Man United friendly, and somehow this weekend you've ended up in Glasgow about to headline Clash at the Castle, Scotland's first ever PLE. You're about to be inducted into the Rangers Hall of Fame, and at the same time Scotland are kicking off the Euros against Germany. What kicked the wheels into motion for Clash at the Castle coming to the Glasgow Hydro this Saturday night, and how much of a whirlwind has this week been for you and everything that you've managed to cram into the last few days?
It's certainly been a whirlwind. I don't think I sleep anymore, but I don't want to sleep because it's very rare I get back home to Scotland. I want to make sure I see everybody, like family, friends, and get the chance to talk with as many media outlets as possible to talk about this show, because I still can't wrap my head around the fact that Scotland finally have a PLE. We're going to get to showcase the Scottish fans to the entire world and just how mental we are. How it came around was a surprise to me. Like, I've been petitioning for a UK show since I got to WWE about 17 years ago, and we finally got Clash at the Castle 1 in Wales, which was a huge success. And then I got buzzed, hey, there's going to be one in Scotland, and I was like, I don't believe you. So that was exciting surprise for me to find out it was in Scotland, but I let them know when I found out it was in Scotland, I'm going to be bloody main eventing that thing. And I am.
Quite right. And as I mentioned there, it's not just Clash at the Castle you've got lined up this week. You've got all the media junkets, all the press stuff to do, and you're being inducted into the Rangers Hall of Fame. On a footballing level, what does that kind of accolade mean to you?
I need to double check that. I don't know if it's Rangers Hall of Fame or the Scottish Wrestling Hall of Fame. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's technically the Scottish Wrestling Hall of Fame. I'm going along to Rangers, and then I'm going to the museum, and I'm getting to see the title that I presented to Rangers a few years ago with WWE, but not officially. I presented it for winning the league and stopping Celtic getting 10 in a row. And it's in the museum, and it says presented by Drew McIntyre. So I'll be there today. But getting inducted in the Scottish Wrestling Hall of Fame is pretty cool. There's only 10 people in there, and I'm the only ever active person that's been inducted by the Lord.
Awesome. Now, obviously, you're here for Clash at the Castle. You are going up against the WWE Heavyweight Champion, Damien Priest, on Saturday night to reclaim the title that you briefly won at WrestleMania. You've done all you can to safeguard this match on Saturday night by winning on Raw on Monday there to get the No Judgment Day stipulation for ringside. But is that going to be enough to make sure there's no shenanigans, no other kind of interference to make sure that you get your big moment back here in Scotland?
Yeah, I have to get the job done here. I've got eyes in the back of my head, laser focused. By Saturday, I'll be over the jet lag, ready to go. But yeah, last time at Clash of the Castle, I say in Wales, I was fighting Roman Reigns for the world title, and when I lost that match, more specifically when I got screwed out of that match, it was like a shot through the heart, not just of myself and my family and friends. It was a shot through the heart of the UK scene, and I can't let that happen twice, especially that it's going to be in Scotland. I'm the only ever Scottish person, British person that's held the WWE Championship in history. You think of people William Regal, the British Bulldog, etc. I'm the only person that's lucky enough to be world champion 3 times. This would be the 4th. And to have it happen in Scotland would be an absolute beyond a dream come true, because it wasn't even an option when I was a kid. It's something to dream about. And as I say as well, we cannot take another heartbreak like last time, so I have to win.
And obviously, with the Judgment Day being banned from ringside, are you wary of any other people that you might have been, winding up a little bit, getting involved in the match at some point? Is that something that you've prepared for?
I'm not worried about anybody getting involved. If they want to get involved in that kind of situation and environment, and that's on them, I will smash them. And then I'll smash Priest as well. Like, I'm not worried about it at all. Like, after the past couple of weeks, what's been going on with myself and Damien, I see him as a future star. The only problem he had was he peaked around about the time I started scratching the surface of my peak, and there's nothing wrong with being second best to Drew McIntyre, but he annoyed me, so I'm just going to embarrass him, humiliate him quick, and I'll advise in the back of my head, and if anybody wants to try and get involved, I'll just smash them too. Like, I'm a one-man wrecking crew, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to win.
And that's the thing as well. You are a one-man wrecking crew, but being on home turf, you wouldn't be short of allies. I mean, you've mentioned in interviews over the last wee while how you'd like for the Ali McCoys to walk you to the ring. You've mentioned Greg Hempel and Rab Florence having your back. There's another guy whose name, if I say, might appear as well, that's been getting a bit of traction there, is possibly turning up at Clash. But there's a man that you've had a bit of history with at the Hydro that I've seen you hanging about with on your socials over the last couple of days. Would there be potential to have, maybe like Grado, Jester, any of your ICW pals in your corner if it came to that?
If it came to it, they'll certainly have my back. I just left Grado right now. He's got a radio show in Glasgow, and we were at the Smashing Pumpkins concert last night, catching up with Billy Corgan, which was a lot of fun. Obviously, Jester was there as well, but they'll be there. They'll be supporting me, and if they're needed, they'll jump right into action, as well as about 12,000 other people.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty fervent crowd. They're going to be in the Hydro for Clash on Saturday night and it's SmackDown on Friday. The crowd reactions to these European shows that you've been doing recently, obviously you mentioned Clash in Wales, had Money in the Bank last year, and even in France a couple of months ago at Backlash. How important to the WWE product is the excitement generated by the fans, and what are you expecting from the Glasgow crowd this weekend?
I mean, our fans are, our number one superstar. Like, if they're not making any noise and our product's just not interesting, and you're not doing a very good job. Like, the more involved and engaged they are, the more exciting it is for us, but the more exciting it is for the viewers, because we have some of the craziest fans ever. And I think, being based in America so long, some markets got a little bit spoiled, so they expected a bit much, and they weren't as loud as they could be. And we have such a massive global footprint that I never understood why we didn't do more international shows. But clearly there's a new edict that we're doing lots of international shows, and we're seeing huge success in every metric. But my favorite one of all is just how mental the fans are. You see them, like in France, you're mentioned there in Lyon, they were just bananas from the beginning till the end. They never stopped making noise, and they never stopped singing their songs. And I'm putting the call to arms out there for the Scottish people. Is that, listen, I've been bigging us up to everybody on the roster. I've been telling her absolutely, if we want another show, we got to be louder than everybody, than every show ever, especially France. We can't lose to France. Come on, we can't lose to France. And when we do that, not if we do that, I'll be able to go to the right people and push for a bigger show in a stadium.
Awesome. Now, obviously, being the main event of this show is a massive thing, not just for you, but for the Scottish wrestling fans. But there's also a lot of Scottish talent spread throughout the card for Clash at the Castle. We've got Piper Niven going up against Bailey for the Women's Championship. We've got Alba Fire and Isla Dawn involved as well in the tag title scene. How important do you feel it is for those performers to get that exposure at this level, having been, a few years ago doing the independent scenes, being very well known across Glasgow and Scotland, but now reaching this massive, massive level?
Yeah, I'm excited for all of them to get this opportunity. It's amazing that we have so many Scottish people in WWE when there's only less than 6 million people to begin with in the country. But the fact we've got so many women is also unreal. And you look at the card that you mentioned there, it's almost like WWE presents ICW with a lot of the superstars on the card. but I'm buzzing for all of them. They have a real big opportunity, especially Viper and Piper Niven being in there with Bailey, with the crowd going to be the way they are. That's the kind of moments that show everybody watching at home that don't know you well enough, that you aren't quite established with yet. Like, wow, this person's a true superstar. She's amazing in the ring. She doesn't quite have the TV equity yet, but she has this match with the right crowd, with the right person. Like she has, she's going to be seen by everybody, the superstar that she is.
Awesome. Now, with so many Scottish people on the card, was there any pull that you guys could have had so that the show wasn't clashing with the kickoff of Scotland against Germany?
That's not my area. I will be at SmackDown, and I'm very grateful that there's so many people coming to SmackDown. I think there's a few tickets left, so you want to be there, grab them fast. But we'll all be peeking at our phone during the show while we're having an awesome SmackDown, and then when I come out, when the show finishes for the main event, non-televised match with Sheamus, we'll have a crazy match where Sheamus and I'll beat each other up, and two, we'll hopefully be talking about Scotland's victory against Germany.
It's going to be an absolutely crazy weekend, obviously, with the Euros kicking off and Scotland kicking that off in style. And last time we spoke, you had said that you were quite confident that Steve Clarke's men are going to get out of the group. Having seen how the national team have performed in the friendlies over the last week while, are you still as confident that we will make that big step that the Scottish national team needs to make?
Yeah, I mean, what happened in the friendlies has happened thus far. Would like better results. But yeah, I still feel very confident. Friendlies are what they are, but now it's game time. Now is when it counts. I had the chance to talk to McTominay yesterday, and I can see that he's fired up, and the lads are fired up. And you just look across the board with the players. It's like, wait a minute, we've got some really amazing individual players all across the board, but also everyone plays so well together. And in the end, the Scottish, they're going to play for the jersey. They're going to give it absolutely everything they've got. And the fans will be bringing that energy as well. And together, I think we're going to shock a lot of people. And I do believe we're going to get out of the group stages finally.
And to do that, we would need to beat Germany on Friday night, or at least get a result against Germany. What has there been much kind of banter between yourself and Ludwig Kaiser in the dressing room in the lead up to this? Obviously, him being a German there, and do you think that the way that Steve Clarke sets his team up and whatnot has got us a good chance of getting that much needed result against the Germans?
Yeah, I feel good about the team itself, and Ludwig's not really been giving me much stick. I think he just seems very confident, like feeling like it's a sure thing, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. That's why I think it's going to be awesome when we surprise them. The thing I've also been doing is showing him the Iron Brew advert.
Yes.
Laughing his head off about, and I had to confirm with him. I was like, "Is Mannschaft mean football team in Germany?" Yeah, so that is hilarious. So most have been talking about that.
It is obviously in the I'm kind of repping Iron Brew here just now, but the whole optimism stuff that Iron Brew have been promoting in the lead up to this, it has been a big swell in Scotland, and there's a big swell of optimism for yourself for Clash at the Castle this Saturday night. So before I let you go, what would be the ideal outcome for this weekend on a footballing and a wrestling perspective, and what would be the most motivating thing that you could say to Steve Clarke and his charges as they head into that opening group game of the Euros?
I mean, obviously the perfect weekend is Scotland getting the result against Germany, beating Sheamus in a non-televised match, and then Drew McIntyre becoming world heavyweight champion on Saturday. It'll be a huge weekend for Scotland, and for the lads going into the game, I just tell them, like, listen, the same way I think about my career now. I've been doing this 17 years, so I dreamt about it forever, but I know I'm at closer to the finish line than I am to the start line. And you only get so many opportunities for these big moments, and I've got one on Saturday, and I'm going to take it in. I'm going to remember it. I'm going to give it all I've got, just like the lads need to do during the Euros here, because one day you're going to be sitting in your couch, and it's all going to be memories, and you're going to think, man, maybe if I just pushed a little bit harder, played my heart out a little bit more, took more risks, and left it all in the field. Like I'm making sure I leave it all in the ring, then I won't have any regrets. So just no regrets, lads. Give it absolutely everything you've got, and look back one day and say I was part of the team that got out of the group stages, or I was part of the team that did the impossible. Greece done it. Why can't Scotland?
Smashing. Listen, Drew, thank you very much for your time today. all the best for SmackDown and Clash at the Castle. And I'm sure with 14,000 fans in the Hydro cheering you on, you're going to get the job done this time.
Yes. Really good about it. Thank you, pal. Good to talk to you again.
Hello, Heatseekers. It's the Heat Sheet.